Hey everybody, hope all is well, and here is your third and last midterm review. Couple things before we start. The midterm I will post tomorrow, which is Thursday, in the morning sometime, and you have until Sunday at 5 p.m. to take a picture of each page and email it to me, especially those 12 people that are taking this for college credit. NU does not believe that college has changed. It's the same as if we're sitting in class. We're just doing it online. So if you don't hand it in to me, that's a 0, and that would put your opportunity for college credit in jeopardy. If you don't think you can finish this course online, then go to the Niagara University New Step webpage, and they will tell you what to do about dropping the class and getting a refund. But if you're going to continue and you want this semester for college credit, whatever I post, you're going to have to do, and you're going to have to submit it to me. And that goes for people not taking it for college credit also. We're not on vacation, and I expect as seniors, and some of you juniors, that you are doing the work that I am posting. And if you could, on a timely fashion, submit it back to me, that would be great. Now here is the midterm review 3. This is your test for a single standard deviation, because we're only talking about men's soccer shoes, and we're talking about one sample. I know I forgot to put the data in, and I've been working all day, and it's been kind of crazy here lately. But anyways, this does say that you're talking about a standard deviation. There is your sigma. It says it wants to know if the weight of men's soccer shoes is less than 0.75, so this is a left tail test. This is one of 2 formulas that you will need for the midterm, because you have it here on a sheet, you have it in a video. I'm not giving you a reference sheet. The only thing the reference sheet would have on it is this formula and the formula for the shoe fay, which you have on those keys that I already posted. I just put the sample standard deviation, the population standard deviation in the formula, and that's my test statistic. 3 decimal places, because you are using table G. We use 2 decimal places with table H, 3 with table G. Here's your information for your critical value, your alpha, your degrees of freedom. Table G should give you this, but make sure, because this is a left tail test, you've got to read the left side of table G, which says alpha is 0.90, not 0.10. See how I crossed it out if it's left-tailed. If it happens to be two-tailed, you would take that alpha, cut it in half, have 0.05, and then 0.975. You would have 2 different alphas. They would add up to 1, just like these 2 alphas add up to 1. That's the right side, that's the left side. If it's two-tailed, you would have to graph both sides. The standard deviation, any test that's not an F test starts with a 0. The only test that doesn't start with a 0 is the F test that we use to determine if we're going to pool data. Since we're in our happy place, we are not rejecting, which means we cannot support that the standard deviation of the weight of men's soccer shoes is less than 0.75. We didn't have time to talk about the 2 different types of error, so you can disregard that, and that would not be on the on the midterm. Here's page, this was number 2, this was an ANOVA test. Anytime you have 3 sets of data, it's an ANOVA test, and notice I just labeled my 3 sets of data up here instead of putting south equals mu1, northwest equals mu2. Instead of putting them in a separate place, I just labeled them up there. There's your H1 and H2. Remember, the ANOVA test will tell you whether they're all equal or at least one of them is different, but it will not tell you which one is different. You put them in your 3 lists, you go to the ANOVA test, and all this information should pop up. Once you hit the calculate, here's your degrees of freedom numerator and denominator. This is the first, that's the second. These are the formulas that just tell you where they come from. Number of sample size minus 1, total number of data values minus number of groups. There's my critical value. I just pulled it, I pulled that off of table H. It was a 0.05 table H. Using the 2 degrees of freedom here, there is my critical value. The grand mean wants the average of all 15 pieces of data. So you have to find the sum of the first set of data, the sum of the second set of data, the sum of the third set of data. You can tell by looking at them that the sample sizes are 6, 5, and 4. These numbers I got off 1var stats list 1, 1var stats list 2, 1var stats list 3. And because my data was all whole numbers, I rounded one place past raw data. Your between group variance, which is the variance between the averages of the first 3 groups, how they vary, is this number. It's big because it's a variance, and it's the very first MS that's listed under the ANOVA test. The second within group variance, this is the variance of all of the data values in all 3 groups. That's 400.5028. I rounded these to 4 decimal places. The rounding doesn't make that big a difference. I went to 4 decimal places, or this one just ended. I like 4. You know, if you would have rounded to 1 or 2, I'm not sure it would have made a difference, but you never know. Now, if you divide these two, you will get your test statistic. The calculator also gives you this. I rounded it to 2 places because I used table H, but that's the definition. An F-test value is always a variance divided by another variance. And in this case, you can get it from the calculator, or to make sure these numbers are right, I divided these 2 numbers and came up with this also. Graphed it, and it looks like with a very small test statistic that we have a do not reject, which means the weight of men's soccer shoes should be more or less the same. And we're saying here that we can't support that they're the claim that these aren't soccer shoes anymore, they're state parks. We cannot support the claim that the average number of state parks differs by region. So now, just to make sure, we're going to do the Chauffet test to make sure that those differences are small. There's the mean for the first set of data, the second set of data, the third set of data. I went to 4 decimal places because I want to be accurate. Sample size 1, 2, 3. This I just copied from the critical value from part 1. Here's the standard deviation within from the ANOVA test. I just copied these from what we already did. And here's the Chauffet test. The only 2 formulas you need on tomorrow's midterm is this formula and the formula that, here it is. Those 2. Here is my Chauffet test. I just compared the means of the first 2, subtracted them, squared them, divided by the denominator, very small difference because those numbers are so close together. 42 and 58, whoops, I lied. Yeah, 42 and 58, not that far apart, same thing, 1.50. I went to 2 decimal places because this is an F test, comes off table H. They always go to 2 decimal places. And then there's my 2, 3. 2 and 3 are the farthest apart. That's the smallest mean, the largest mean. So they should have the biggest difference. Therefore, they have the biggest test statistic. Now, the new critical value is based on 2 times the old critical value. 2 because, again, it's that degrees of freedom numerator, number of groups minus 1, which is always 2. So this is my new test statistic. And you'll notice that all 3 of these test statistics are smaller than this. Therefore, we have a no significant difference in the number of parks by region, which is what they asked us at the very beginning. Can it be concluded that the average number of parks are different? We said no because we did not reject, which means HO, all the averages, all the data is all roughly, the average by region is the same. Okay, that's what I have. Tomorrow is your midterm. The midterm will not contain a question. I'll put this back here just in case you want to look at it. So you're not looking at the top of my desk here. If it's not on one of those 3 reviews, it will not be on the midterm. You are going to submit to me the multiple choice. You can just take a sheet of paper, put 1 through 10 on it, and just give me the choices, you know, A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it had. I can't remember. You don't have to copy the question. I just want answers. And then after the multiple choice, there is 4, you know, statistical tests like this. And I just want this part. You don't have to rewrite the question for me, but just give me, you can print it out and fill it in, or you can just do the, whatever the spaces, whatever I need in. It'd probably be easiest to print it because it gives you a nice outline, but that's up to you. Okay, email me if you have an issue, you have a question, but don't email me and say, how do you do number 2 on the midterm, or how do you do this, or how do you do that? You've gotten samples of everything, so the midterm shouldn't be too bad. I just need it submitted to me by Sunday at 5 p.m. I'm holding very strong to that deadline because it gives you 4 days. If you can't do it in 4 days, you're not going to be able to do it in, you know, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Okay, hang in there. The weekend's almost here. Nice to see you, or sort of, listen to you, talk to you. Thanks for those people that are keeping in touch and, you know, sending me emails and pictures and everything. Hope to see you all soon.